Same passion.
Oh, would you believe it? A virtuoso strike from Dejan Kulusevski.
Same energy.
Here's Lucas Moura. Oh, they've done it! I cannot believe it!
Same love.
I want to win. I want to win the trophy, to bring success to the team, especially when you are captain and win the trophy.
Same team.
It's just who we are, mate. It's just who we are. It's who we're going to be till as long as I'm here.
Same old Spurs.
The Same Old Spurs podcast with Majestic and Gazza.
Get behind the boys and up the Spurs.
Good evening and welcome along to the Same Old Spurs podcast, the SOS podcast, a weekly podcast between two lifelong friends. And joining me on the show this week, of course, is the one and only Gazza.
No, it's not.
Oh, you're not Gazza?
Yeah, maybe because he's not here.
What's your name?
Leo.
Hello, Leo. Are you the world famous Leo, my son Leo?
Yes.
Hello, Leo. How are you?
Good.
Welcome to the podcast. Are you excited to be here?
Yes.
So let's start with you, actually, quickly, because are you the top goal scorer for Wormley at the moment?
Yeah.
Let me give you, look, talk into the mic a little bit more.
Yeah.
How many goals you scored this season?
20.
And do you want to thank your teammates?
Yeah.
Who's your teammates?
Parker, Teddy, Brody, Oliver, Peyton, Jacob,
Oh, that's nice. And what about you? Who's your gaffer?
Ryan, Wade,
And?
Lee.
Lee listens to the podcast, you know that?
Yes.
So say hi, Lee.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Teddy.
Hi, Teddy.
So, yeah, we thought I'd talk to Leo quickly about this week's Tottenham Hotspur endeavours. We went to Spurs yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
How was it?
Good.
Why was it good?
Solanke chip.
Solanke chip. So it was 1-0. It was 1-0 down the first half.
Yeah, then we scored 4 goals in the second half.
And when we got
And then Villa weren't singing anymore.
they weren't singing anymore.
Yeah.
And what did you sing to them?
You're not singing, you're not singing, you're not singing anymore, you're not singing anymore.
And what was your favourite part of the 4 goals? Who's won? Solanke's chip.
Yeah.
We had a big cuddle, didn't we?
Yeah.
When the equaliser went in, we had a massive cuddle, didn't
Yeah. With Brendan Johnson.
we? Yeah. So, do you think Spurs are going to have a good season?
Pretty much. We beat Ipswich, so we'll have a great season.
That's our next game at home.
Yeah,
You going?
obviously.
What do you mean, obviously?
I go to Spurs almost every time. I love it there.
Oh, do you love it there?
Yeah, party. Every time I win, I party.
What do you sing when you win?
Free from desire. Free from desire.
What's your favourite song to sing in the crowd?
You don't know what you're doing to the ref.
And what's that other one that we heard everyone singing outside the Bill Nicholson pub? Hey,
So Campbell.
All right, we won't go any further. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the podcast. I'm going to replace you for Gazza now.
No, you're not.
I am.
No, you're not.
Just like this. Just like that, Gazza's here with me.
What an intro, mate, to the podcast this week. Your little boy there, Leo, he loves it. He does. When he says he loves Tottenham with a passion, mate.
He's not felt the heartache that we have, so it's all fresh to him, isn't it?
I love how he knows how he's going next. Of course I'm going.
He
Shooing, he's in the ground, man.
backs himself, doesn't he, the lad?
Good lad.
Yeah, so welcome to the SOS podcast with Maj and Gaz. Thank you to Leo for joining us there for the start. He's like, Dad, when I come on the podcast? So I was like, go on, you can come on tonight. It is the Same Old Spurs podcast. Maj and Gaz in the building. Wow, what a difference a week makes, eh?
Didn't see it coming, Madge. Do you know what I mean? From last week when we had the podcast and we give every single
2 weeks' wages.
every single person associated with that football club 2 weeks' wages.
They got it.
Because of the shift collectively at Crystal Palace and at Selhurst Park. Fast forward 7 days in football, eh?
Wow.
What a contrast.
Lots to go through. That victory against Aston Villa at home, a 4-1 thrashing. And we ain't done a podcast since we beat Manchester City and got through the next round of the Carabao Cup, which is also very nice indeed. Going to be looking ahead to our very difficult trip to Galatasaray, which happens on Thursday, as well as loads of other stuff, some other players we want to pick out this week who have done some good stuff. It's Madge, it's Gaz, it's SOS. That's right, it's the Same Old Spurs podcast with Madge and Gaz. We're here in the building. And how's your week been, Gaz?
Been a good week. Well, I'd say it's been a good week. Obviously, after the back of last weekend and Crystal Palace, it's always tough, isn't it? You're looking to the next game. The next game's Man City. What are they going to bring? Who are they going to rest? What are Tottenham going to do? What are we going to do? How are we going to bounce back? So many questions. You're having them chats amongst friends, just people still questioning the manager, the philosophy, where we're going.
We are, mate.
So it's a tough one, match. But what a night Wednesday was, eh?
Well, this is it. Did you go?
I didn't go, no. I watched it at home.
No, I didn't even really get to watch. I watched the first half, I think. I was up the Kiss Haunted House Party, Halloween.
How was that? I'll tell you what, I had delivery with the outfit.
Well, for those wondering why I look like a 6-year-old lad without my beard, which I absolutely hate, by the way, I had to take my beard off because I went in for Halloween, didn't I?
It feels fresh, though, doesn't it, when you get the shave?
It does a bit, but then
Did
you're
they do the works with it, you know? Like
the full shebang.
Oh, high level.
The shebangy. So, yeah, I went as Art the Clown.
Art the Clown, mate. I'll tell you what, I thought you delivered it fantastically. How was it there at Thorpe Park this year?
It wasn't Thorpe Park.
Oh, weren't it Thorpe Park?
No, the Thorpe Park Friday night was a few weeks ago. This was the Kiss Haunted House Party.
Where was that?
Tottenham Court Road.
Good event?
Yeah, it was a good event. Apparently, oh, there it is. Look, that's exactly who I was for Halloween.
There we are.
Thank you, Louis. It looks brilliant, doesn't it? Good
Tell you
makeup.
what, that looks top drawer, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Thrown a bit of money at that, though, didn't you?
No, well, we backed it.
You don't get that in the pound shop, that's for sure.
So, yeah, a good night. And then what was even better for me was the fact that I see Tottenham beating Manchester City on the Wednesday. But we'll talk about that in depth.
Yeah.
Then the weekend rolls along. You had a little shindig, didn't you, the weekend, Friday night?
Yeah, seems to be one too many for them. You know, I'm getting older, and the recovery process is very, very slow these days. So yeah, it was a good night. Shout out to Fem, my brother's partner, as her 30th on Friday. She had a nice do in Hertford. There was loads of us there. Good to see the family. Great for you to come down and catch up with everyone.
Yeah.
Them moments few and far between as we get older, innit, mate? So you got to make them count when you do get together.
Oh, absolutely. And the gaffer himself, Steve King, is watching right now. What difference 1 week makes? That's the big issue. They need to correct, but can they? You know what? You say that, what difference a week makes? Every football team is going to lose games. Look at Arsenal. We can talk about Arsenal really as we're doing our little weekly catch-up. You know, they've gone from title contenders to dropping points against Liverpool, Bournemouth, Newcastle. They've got 1 point in 9.
Yeah, it's a great shout. And do you know what was fantastic about having a hangover on Saturday is I didn't really move from my bed, so I had an opportunity to watch Arsenal v Newcastle, and Arsenal were awful, mate.
Yeah.
I really do mean that, and I like Newcastle had to apply themselves. Got the job done. Great goal, Gordon. Great cross. Expertly finished off by Isak. But Arsenal never got going, and then you obviously combine that with the news that's come out today about Edu.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk about that.
Moving on, he's been integral for them. And look,
I'll talk about that in a moment because I wanted to say you mentioned Isak, right?
Yeah.
So, ironically, you know when we played Palace, we looked at Eze, someone that we should have bought, and he played very well. Now Arsenal, still no number 9. Isak, should they have bought someone like him?
Yeah, and I know you mentioned that on your TalkSport show because I listened in on it. One that might have got away. They've thrown a lot of there's a lot of expectation with Havertz up front for Arsenal. How's he going to be moving forward? But yeah, look, this is not an Arsenal podcast. I'm happy that they didn't sign a striker match. But it was just nice to see, you know what I mean, an Arsenal defeat. That starts off the weekend really well for me.
Well, you mentioned Edu, and he has been integral in their moving forward with Arteta and backing him and a move to Forest. Obviously, it's a bigger club.
Yeah, I think he...
Nah, listen, I've been winding up my Arsenal friends today by going, yeah, he's going to a bigger club. They're like, in what world is Nottingham Forest a bigger club than us? I'm like, bro, have you won 2 Champions Leagues? Because they have.
Yeah, look, you can. No one can argue that. When you throw that out, no one can argue it, mate, because it's facts.
Yeah, no, it's not Arsenal, a huge football club, and they're bigger than Nottingham Forest.
It was just nice to see the weekend start that way, man.
Yeah, it was, and then
you know what I mean, because a bit of negativity down the road, it always helps.
Absolutely. So then that brings us to the game, Aston Villa against Tottenham Hotspur at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's have a look back at what happened during Aston Villa at home. Starts off for me, these 2 o'clock kickoffs on a Sunday. I'm not a big fan of them because I've got TalkSport. They're not thinking about me.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Don't think about me and what I've got to be doing on a Sunday. Because for me, That's a bit of ag, that is.
I thought he might have done you a favour, man.
No,
The only reason I say that is because they're not. If it was a 3 o'clock, you're struggling big time.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, what about 3 o'clock on a Saturday?
Yeah, but Europa League, isn't we?
Yeah, I know, but there's no Europa League. I know it's cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you got a cup, and even the Europa League football, the fallout is that you play on a Sunday. That's just how it is.
I know, but for me,
You get back in the A-class competition Tuesday and Wednesday night midweek football, Madge.
I've got to
Back playing Saturdays.
I've got to, like, for example, I took Leo to the game,
Yeah.
so I've got to work out how he's getting home. Big shout to for Justice for taking Leo home. You offered as well.
Yeah.
But I've got to bring my bag with my computer, and Spurs' silly policy of not having bags in there. Like, you can have an A4 bag, an A4 size drawstring bag, sir. That's what you can have, an string bag. Like, brother, I've got my headphones, my computer. I'm going to talk sport after this, so I have to leave my bag into Justice's car, which means that after the game, I've got to go back to the car, get the bag, and then head into London. But it went smoothly in the end. I got there in time. But we've gone there. Spurs, Aston Villa, at home. First and foremost, as we always start on these things, let's have a look at the team sheet, the lineup, how we started, the starting 11, especially after the back of the cup win. You know, he went for the back four, of course, with Van der Ven coming off in the week. No surprises there, really, with Dragusin coming in.
Not really. You're looking at it in a modern day. You're looking at Dragusin playing on the left-hand side of a back four, of a back two in a four. People look at that and go, that's a bit of a problem. Imagine that was always how it used to be back in the day. Do you know what I mean? It's become, because there's so much onus about playing out from the back these days, as opposed to just going long. Centre halves need to be comfortable on either foot on either side. But yeah, there weren't really no real shocks in that starting 11 there at all, Madge. Yeah, strong team really on paper, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then you look into that midfield. Of course, there's big options in there at the moment. Bentancur getting the nod.
Yep.
Rather than Basuma.
Yep.
And then Maddison also on the bench was another noticeable absence. You're like, okay, cool. And then the front three, I think, was the right look. And so you're thinking,
lovely
okay.
to see the skipper back, you know, Heung-min
Yeah,
Son. Like,
that-
you know what I mean? It's lovely to
massive.
have him back in the team. Look, we'll obviously get on to the way that he left the pitch. He was unhappy. Probably a little bit more frustrated than anything, but there was obviously a clear game plan from the manager. And Spurs, prior to that game, was to give Heung-min Son 50 to 60 minutes in the game and hope that he could do a little bit in that time. And he did do a bit, didn't he, mate, as we'll get on to.
So the first half was quite boring to a degree.
Yeah, I thought that it was a bit. I didn't think there was too much in the game in the first half. I wouldn't say Spurs were disappointing. I thought Spurs done all right in the first half.
Yeah, I thought we've done all right.
I thought we really did.
I tell you when you know it's going to be a bit of a frustrating. It could be a frustrating afternoon if you don't change things. Is when we're on the edge of that box.
Yeah.
And we go down the line and then we come back inside, and then we go out wide again, then we come back inside. Then we might take a pop shot, lose the ball. Spurs in that first half, I thought were really narrow.
Yeah,
I
fair.
thought that, you know, when we play the inverted fullbacks with Poro and Destiny, especially on the left-hand side, if you look at Destiny's position in the first half, I don't know if you saw Match of the Day 2 yesterday. Danny Murphy made a great point, and he's absolutely correct in saying that where Adogie's come inside Son running down the left-hand side, he had both Cash and McGinn ready to double up. Just left no space for him to go down the wing, so they come back inside. Whereas if you go old school and do the overlaps, all of a sudden Cash has to worry about the overlap, which allows space to come inside, which we saw in the second half. So I thought the first half was quite difficult in terms of trying to break them down.
We lacked a little bit of creative spark, didn't we, imagine, that final third at times in that first half.
It's how teams set up.
Of course.
Right? I've got to say from the outset, you know, Aston Villa and Emery have been fantastic. I've waxed lyrical about them on TalkSport. I've talked about how good they've been, and they are good. They're a good team. They're well organised. What Emery's done there is fantastic. But Villa, if you're a Villa fan who's watching tonight or seeing a clip of this somewhere, I think more of you than that as a football club. The way Villa set up and tried to play the dark arts from 20 minutes
Spot on.
was embarrassing.
It was. And
embarrassing.
You look at it, mate, like there was killing the clock from an early point in the game. Imagine, it weren't just in the second half.
No, that's what I'm saying. From 20
and do you know
minutes
what I mean?
in.
I think me and you had a quick little exchange of messages during the game. The referee was allowing them to do it, mate.
Yeah, I thought the ref was
You need to get
poor.
hold of that game and that situation and stop that. But look, it didn't work out for Aston Villa because he got thumped 4-1. And
No, but the thing is, before we move on to that, is the fact of the matter is, it started to look like it was going to work. The dark arts, they get a set piece. Now that's what we need to come on to next, is because it's the set piece situation. Because once again, individual errors create a problem for us. And the irony is, I think our goal difference in terms of like goals against are one of the better in the league.
Yeah, look, we get on to that. We got with some decent stats there for the club, no doubt about that, and how the narrative reads for Tottenham Hotspur as it stands. I found it strange that Porro was on the near post match. I'm not like I understand how the smaller players would edge on the post.
Before we even get to that part, I need to dig out Vicario.
Yeah,
because it's a problem. He's become a problem in that situation, in those corners, and there are other influences in the actual goal.
He got saved in the week match.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen someone come across and be like, he was flapping everywhere, wasn't he? That one where Basuma clears it off the line.
Well,
you know what
this
I mean?
is it.
Yeah.
So one comes in, and it's very catchable, and he punches it away. It leads to another corner. They then score from the corner. Now, that, for me, is a problem.
I like Vicario as a shot stopper. Is there too many other goalkeepers that you can that can replace him and better him at the minute without spending a lot of money that will come with a risk? You know what I mean? It's a question you have to ask.
I don't want to replace him. I want to improve him.
I had a look at their goalkeeper, Aston Villa. He's dominant from the set plays, isn't he? Martinez. You know what I mean?
Top keeper.
No problem with him. So yeah, look, you can look at that. I think where the ball that it comes off.
Well, do you think there's going to be one player in that pitch that's going to bully Martinez? No way.
That's what I mean.
So he needs
straight
to
away
that.
before. Yeah. He needs to develop that. Will take him a bit of time. I think he is trying, Madge. You watch him when things are from a corner.
Weak.
But he's trying to push people out of the way.
Well, okay. So then, for example, if you've know that's going to happen, and we do know that's going to happen, he gets targeted. Dragerson, who looks like a bouncer, stick him in front of the keeper, all right? So their player can't get in front. And when needed, move out of the way and let him catch the ball. It has to stop. It needs to come to an end. Ironically, people were arguing with me on TalkSport about, the goals conceded from set pieces. Like,
still zonal, aren't we?
We've only let in one or two from set pieces. If you look at the last two seasons combined, we have let in the second most goals from set pieces after Nottingham Forest. And the third one are Wolves. That's who we're down in the mix with.
It's a big shout. It's a decent cross, but comes off Porro, goes across the face of the goal and tucked away quite easily for Aston Villa.
Too easy.
And I tell you, it was a big reel away into the corner right down in front of me there. They really enjoyed that moment.
Oh, they gave it a big one, didn't they?
Yeah, the fans there, you know what I mean, packed to the rafters out in the corner there, Villa. Enjoying a really, really good time at the moment, and found themselves 1-0 up at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is a big look for them.
Yeah, and, seeing how difficult it was to get into the game creatively, half-time for me couldn't come quick enough because we needed to make a change.
Yeah, look, just a little stat from that. Spurs have conceded the opening goal of a Premier League game on 12 occasions in 2024. That's the most, more than any team. It seems to be in a recurring theme, so that's something that we will need to stop because there'll be days you won't be able to get away with that. You get punished.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Second half, at half-time, you're having a chat around, you know what I mean? What's going to happen next?
Who are you chatting to?
Really, I'm chatting to everyone. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of negative chat being flying around and doing the rounds at that time. Not just sure. It won't just be by me, but a lot of the majority of Spurs fans. How's the second half going to turn out for this football club? Because one thing we all know as Spurs fans is you can't predict anything at the minute, mate.
But one thing we do now know as Spurs fans, if you just look at the stats, is nobody has got more points from losing positions this calendar than Spurs.
Yeah, look,
we've had more than Man City, anyone.
We're finding that 15 minutes, I spoke about it last week on the podcast. Why does it take a rally, a 15-minute chat at half-time for the troops to be
maybe they get their oranges.
For the troops to be galvanised. I tell you what, they must be dishing out some lovely oranges in there, mate. Hand-peeled, fantastic stuff. Because we did get a reaction, mate.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic reaction. And, do you know what I mean? For Brennan Johnson to score, just 4 minutes after the start of play in the second half was really, really good. And Heung-min Son, was he sort of nullified by Matty Cash at times in the first half? I thought he was.
Big time.
But what he seemed to do at the beginning of that second half in the early stages is he seemed to just drop a bit deeper, Madge, and find a little bit of space and just tried to sort of come into the game in a different way. And the cross is absolutely sensational.
Sensational
it was
indeed.
So good. 2-footed. He's one of the best. We all know that. Brilliant moment.
It was, and a good.
Brennan Johnson
finish
back
by
in the goals match, and that's what you want. Do you know what I mean?
goal.
We're asking the question. He's had a great run, didn't he? Just sort of come out of it last couple of games. Needed to get back in it, and he's in there, following up, doing what he needs to do. Him, and if it weren't going to be him that tapped in, it was going to be Solanke, wasn't it? So really good.
I'm going to do something quite unorthodox here, Gaz. That
Go on,
we've not
mate.
done the podcast before, but just to quickly need to go and visit the little boys' room. I'm going to substitute myself for the statman Will Marriott, who's going to come and fill in for me and talk about the Villa game with you, whilst I quickly pop off to the little boys' room, Gaz. That's what happens on a live podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, introducing back onto the show is the statman.
I tell you what, it's a high class replacement. Look at him. He's a good looking boy. Anyway, look, all you ladies out there watching.
How's it going, guys?
Well, look, Will, I pick up there from
Hello,
Madge,
mate.
just obviously talking about the first goal for us for Spurs in that second half come at a key moment, and you know what I mean. Brennan Johnson back in the goals.
Yeah, Johnson again. Ole. Mate, Johnson's been unbelievable. The turnaround from who we watched at Leicester, first game of the season, when he went down the line, was in, then turned back round to what the player he is turned into. And personally, you know me, I'm a big backer.
Yeah, look, I
like
know
to back
that
the
you're one of
boys.
them, and look, that ain't a bad place to be. That ain't a bad thing to be as a Spurs fan. You know what I mean, backing your players there. I do think that Brennan Johnson relies on him either scoring or assisting for it, because he's not really involved in too much of it. You know what I mean? It needs to be.
Yeah,
you
no.
know what
I do think that £60 million price tag.
Yeah,
was,
carries a big
someone
burden.
just asked who's my team. Obviously Spurs.
Yeah, I know. Well, Will's got the accent, innit? he? So it's not like myself, but yeah. A little bit of a Leicester twang in there for Will, but he is. I can assure everyone that Will is a massive Spurs fan, and he travels up and down the country, mate. Look, the next goal was going to be key. 1-1 at the game at that time. Will Dominic Solanke notches on the 75th minute, and what a goal it was, mate! What a team!
Do you know who that move started from?
Ben Davies,
Benny
interception.
Davies,
You
mate.
have to give him his flowers, and I know that me and Maggie are going to talk to him, talk about Ben Davies in depth. I thought he done really, really well when he come on. Not just yesterday, but in the week against Manchester City as well. Really, really nice team goal there. Sarr's involved, Johnson's involved, Kulu with a nice little slip.
Yeah.
And then you're in that moment, and look, this is, for me, Will, I don't know about you, but I've been asking a question about Dominic Solanke. You seem to be praising him for a lot of the things he does off the ball.
Yep.
I'm looking for a moment for him
I
on the ball.
watched the overlap the other day, and the Man United pundit called him a waste of space and a big lump. I don't know if he was.
Well, that was
I
a
don't know if
little
it
bit
was
over
salty
the top,
because obviously Solanke scored against him. But if you've actually watched Solanke this season, you'll realise he's one of the most hard-working strikers.
Yeah, you'll struggle
Europe.
you'll struggle to find someone to match his numbers. You only got to look at Ange Postecoglou loves him. He spoke fantastically about him prior to the game. Even alluded to the fact that it's not just about goals, and there's so much of the other side of the game he admires. But for me, Will, that was a key moment for him, because look, you can talk about how much you can do off the ball, but if you're a striker, you are judged on goals, especially at the end of the season. You do need to get your quota. What's he going to be like in that moment? And I thought he was cool as ice, mate. I thought
He was brilliant.
Yeah, so really, really good for Dominic Solanke. We've got the big man back now. We mate in the tub. Rolling, roll off. Thanks, Will, for the cameo. I can assure everyone that Will is Spurs. So, just saying there, Madge, about Dominic Solanke and how key the first goal for him was. Obviously, we've been a lot of fans have been talking about the work he does off the ball, the manager as well. But the matter of fact is, you got to put the ball in the back of the net, and that first goal, that finish was superb.
You know what? Will's already mentioned it about in terms of the play that he does off the ball and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, if you look at the way that we score a lot of our goals, it comes from a break really quick down the wings, and that sort of rapid ball inside into the box, normally to the back post. Son's cross to Brennan Johnson was exactly that. You see them train that.
Yeah.
And when I first started looking at Ange Postecoglou, when we got mentioned with linking to him, I watched a lot of Celtic stuff and videos. They did it as well. Ange loves that winger from one side to another, get the ball across, bang. Difficult for a number 9 to get a lot of goals in that kind of system. You're going to get it from the 2 next to him. Superb yesterday, and well deserved of the goals. But to take that finish the way that he did was top stuff. And what was even better than that was hearing his name being sung by the Spurs faithful. And I felt yesterday he was embraced as Tottenham's new main sort of man as a striker.
Yeah, look, you know what I mean. It's like when you get like that money spent on you in the summer, it's a price tag that's going to be on your back immediately. You got Richarlison there who just come back from injury.
I'm sorry. I think we need to dispel that myth. I think what was he 60 million?
Yeah,
was he 60 million? We fact check that. Will, how
it's
much
a record
Solanke
signing
was?
at the club.
I think it has to be put into context of how much things cost nowadays. Solanke at £60 million, I don't think that's loads of money.
Well, yeah, that's not what's in question. That's not what I said. What I said was
Is the price tag?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is because it naturally happens in football.
Yeah, but that price tag is
whether you think he's worth it or not is another question.
64 million euros. Yeah, so let's just say 60 million euros.
Whether you think he's worth it or not is another question. But naturally, when you become Spurs' record signing of all time, that's going to come with pressure.
Yeah, but Spurs spend £5 on players.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's going to come with pressure. But it's just,
it's come with pressure. I just think,
and it has come with pressure. But like, as I said, you're going to judge him in his key moments, and I thought it was ice cold in front of that goal when he got slipped through there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely little dink finish, and that was the confidence that he's obviously has at the moment. And the manager putting his arm around him and showing that faith and coming out in the media prior to the game and just showing him, look, you're going to be my man. He's got his returns there, isn't he, from the player at the weekend and some.
Yeah, exactly that. And then we see Richie come on. Oh, Richie gets his
Richarlison. Yeah, what a cameo he had, eh?
On and off.
What a cameo! Because
on and off.
I thought he had a couple of stabs, didn't he, down on that left hand side. He had a couple of goes. I think it was Cash. Didn't really do anything down that left hand side, and you're waiting for a moment. Can he do something? And it comes, doesn't it, Madge? It comes at a cost because you know what I mean. The little breakaway from Pape Sarr I thought was so good.
We'll talk about him in literally a moment's time. But yeah, Richarlison I thought was really unselfish getting that ball across, and as a striker, you know, desperate for goals as well. You think he'd want to try and shoot it,
especially when you land it on your competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? But it just shows that. I'm sure they obviously get along, and he was in the right place there, wasn't he? And like Solanke there, notches again, mate, and that's 2 from in the game, and it's 3-1 at that point. It's fantastic in the stadium, and it was a great atmosphere at that point in the ground. Even John McGinn actually said it in his post-match interview for Villa there that they found it tough, Villa, and that Spurs fan, that 12th man, really made a difference in that second half.
Then, of course, we finish off with a cherry on top of the cake, which I missed because I had to rush off to talk sport, was James Maddison's free kick.
Absolutely brilliant match.
Now, we've been waiting for him to do that, haven't we?
Yeah, look, mate, you know what I mean? It would have been a tough week for James Maddison. You know what I mean? An unused sub, I think, against Man City.
Yeah.
Didn't get onto the pitch.
Which he would have been gutted about.
We spoke about, if you look at the last podcast, and there was a little clip that was thrown up about it, we had a feeling that he might miss out, didn't he, James Maddison? Brought Bentancur and Sarr back into it. Big player, James Maddison, for Spurs, you know what I mean? He was key last year. Still think he's going to be key moving forward. But to be dropped against Manchester City, not get on the pitch, then not be used yesterday. And the only reason he's come on the pitch yesterday, Madge, is because Richarlison, has had to make way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the only reason he's come on the pitch, because I think he wouldn't have come on. But
because Kuda went out left. And
big moment for him, James Maddison, capable footballer, and it's a great free kick. And I just love the moment when he reels away to his family, looking up into the stadium, throws the darts, nice little heart shape to everyone, and that was good, mate, because you need that. And he was backed by a lot of Spurs players, wasn't he, in that moment as well?
50th Premier League goal.
Yeah.
And again, we've seen him do it against us with those kind of goals. So nice to have one go in for us. Even just a free kick in general. We ain't
When was the last free kick we
I
scored?
can't think.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's
been a while.
Ericsson used to pop a few in back in the day.
Oh, no, worse than that was Harry Kane. Harry Kane going, guys, come on, let me take the free kicks. I'm the free kick taker. And then it would just literally hit the wall or something. Right, so...
Some decent player ratings there, Madge. We spoke about the player ratings from last week, how bad they were at Crystal Palace. But you're looking at them yesterday.
I want to go through just one in particular.
Go on, mate.
What was Sarr's player rating?
Sarr's player ratings yesterday was a 7.
Well, let's talk about Sarr, because I think he was such a big difference. The energy that he had in the middle, winning back the ball. I think he won all of his duels or something. There was a good stat about him.
He was. Look at this, Pape Sarr yesterday. I thought he was fantastic all day long, man. His ball carrying, his intensity, his distribution, he's involved for both Solanke's goals, and defensively is superb. winning possession in the midfield third 9 times against Villa, the most by a player in a single Premier League game this season.
Wow.
I thought he was immense yesterday. I know they gave it to Dominic Solanke. Immense. His performance was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I just thought that, you know, I mean, they gave that award to Dominic Solanke. I get why. He's in the goals, and goal scorers normally always pick up them awards, or people in the assist. But he was brilliant, wasn't he? Pape Sarr, he was so good. Having a bit of fun there on a Monday night, a little stroke.
Yeah.
I was really happy with Pape.
You know what?
Sarr,
because we saw him last season really flourish.
Yeah,
and we were worried about the fact after he went to the African Cup of Nations, he came back, he wasn't the same player.
Yeah.
And we hadn't seen that since then. What I've seen again is even for that goal that came for Solanke.
Yeah.
It started with him interrupting the play, you know, and you're thinking, yeah, this is what I need from that kind of player.
He was just everywhere, Madge. He was everywhere in the game. What I will say is, Onana in the first half.
Listen, I know he's Villa, but he was superb.
Was really, really impressed with him. Yeah. And I know we've had a chat on this podcast about Archie Gray. And you're looking at that player there, £10 million more.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what I mean? He was a big impact. You're talking about, like, big dominant forces on a football pitch, big stature, when he could have put Aston Villa up, has a header, comes off the bar, comes off the post, and I thought he was a real force in that first half in that midfield area. But Pape Sarr, he was really, really good yesterday as well, man. As the game went on, he really come out as the main man in that midfield and won all the battles for me. He was fantastic. And you know what? Look, Madge, I just want to get onto it. Like, a couple of things that come out of that. Solanke now becomes the first player to score 4 goals in their first 8 Premier League matches since Van der Vaart in 2010. Also, was really, really happy, Madge, with. But you know, we spoke about the midfielders on last week's podcast, and you look at them this week, and we'll get onto the Man City game as well. But I think all of them have contributed, Madge. I really, really do. You look at Bentancur and Sarr, they've started both the last 2 games, with Basuma coming on for Sarr against Man City and for Bentancur against Aston Villa. But you look at James Maddison as well. He's had the least game time, but all have contributed. Bentancur been good against City, is composing his possession. Sarr's got a great goal against Manchester City, as we get on to, and he was immense yesterday every Villa, as we've said. Basuma, key interception, one off on the line against Manchester City, and Maddison with a sublime free kick yesterday. So they've all contributed, and that's been fantastic for me to see.
It really just feels like there's a squad spirit, not even a team spirit,
Definitely.
a squad spirit right now, where they've, you know, they all come in, they come off, and because of that high press, that intensity, I think a lot of them, apart from Son when he came off, he was fuming, wasn't he?
He was, yeah, but obviously premeditated that decision when it matched.
He was like this. Sonny, mate, you got to come off. Like, I'm staying on.
Tough game to leave the pitch, because
especially after that,
it was a key moment, and
great assist.
You're seeing that with just with the assist, we've just got the ascendancy, and it was like you're asking questions. Then does the manager have to bring him off? But he kept to the game plan, didn't he, the manager?
No, he did indeed, and you know, rather than how poor Villa were, and they were poor yesterday, we got to talk about, you know, the time wasting going on from the World Cup winning keeper Martinez. Terrible.
They just tried to kill the game. We mentioned
it was awful.
We mentioned it at the beginning,
and the ref got booed a lot because he had a shocking job. So for us to still get the win, I thought, you know, the odds were stacking up against us. Like, I just think in terms of a rectification of the performance at Palace, to throw that in against a good Villa side, and it's the second time we put more than 3 goals past them.
Off the back of the Man City one as well, mate.
Yeah.
So that was what was key. Do you know what I mean? Is to kick on, because as we keep saying, you're looking at it, and like one thing you will not be able to do with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club is predict what's going to happen next.
Nope, because you probably lose to Ipswich.
You know, exactly. You wouldn't be surprised. Let's hope it doesn't happen, but you wouldn't be surprised. But you look at it, mate. 2 wins, you're into the quarterfinal now, the Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
anything can happen at this stage, mate. Next, you get through it against Manchester United. You never know, mate.
Absolutely. Well, listen, 4-1 victory makes us very happy. Puts us, 7th in the table? Where are we in the league table? I think we're 7th.
You've got to bring the league table up there.
Yeah, you've got to get the league table up for us. Currently sitting in 7th place. But Statman tells me some mad stat that if Villa don't beat Liverpool and Newcastle beat or draw or lose or something,
It's an awful stat so far because you don't know what it is. But at the end of the day,
Well, I do.
what I will say is that
If we beat Ipswich and Villa don't beat Liverpool and Chelsea and Arsenal draw, Forest lose to Newcastle, we would go to the international break in 3rd place.
fantastic. You look at that when you're looking at the table there. The great Arsenal, the title favourites, they're going to pick up the trophy this year. Just a couple of points off them.
The title contenders.
Title
2 points
contenders,
behind
yeah.
them at the moment.
Unbelievable, Jeff. So,
How things change in a
how
week in
football
football.
can change in football. yeah.
Things can change very quickly. Right.
It's a sport, match. It's a sport, like, do you know what I mean? Like none other, where you get just only a couple of days to be able to atone for your wrongdoings.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way of saying it. Right. Let's get into it because you haven't subscribed yet, have you? I know you haven't subscribed. You're sitting there watching us on YouTube and you haven't pressed the button. You're thinking, oh, Madge is right. I ain't pressed the button. Nah, you see you watching this podcast right now, or even if you're listening to the podcast. I don't want to send my rubber ducky around your house, but I have to. I will, because this guy's dangerous. Quack, quack, quack. So you press subscribe right now. Be a good little boy or girl. Press subscribe, and I'll be seeing you next on the SOS podcast. Same Old Spurs podcast with Madge and Gaz. We're here until probably about 8 o'clock tonight. If you're listening to the podcast in the usual format, welcome back. So good to be back after.
Great to be here, Madge. Do you know what I mean? You look at it, this is our 3rd one in Vision.
I know.
First one out the door. Fantastic. Spurs, last week you let us down. This week, up again.
Same old Spurs.
Same old Spurs, mate.
That's how we do
enjoy it.
things.
There's nothing better than winning football matches. It sets the tone, it sets the mood for everyone's week.
I think I found a picture of Ben Davies and his nan. You know, we often on this podcast, we talk about Ben Davies. Yeah, I think I found a picture of Ben Davies and his nan. If you ever look at the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, over there.
Benny Davies. She looks happy, the nan, doesn't she?
Well, she's Benny, listen, you've played another game for Tottenham today. I want a photo. I'll show everyone at the club. And he's like, Nana, I've had another good day. They brought me on as substitute. They needed me. Romero's gone down. Who do they call? Mr. Dependable, Mr. Benny Davies. I come on, shut up shop, we win the game. Oh, Ben, that's wonderful, Ben. Anyway, for those that don't know, we often do this thing on the podcast where Ben Davies talks to his nan. Reason being is Ben Davies is clearly one of the nicest men ever.
Yes, he is indeed, sir.
He just seems like a lovely guy.
You know what? It's just like, and I'm not going to just start pretending that I haven't questioned him and said.
Well, no, that's what I was going to say.
We need to be consistent.
But we need to give context to why we do the nan thing. It's because basically we're like, Ben Davies is the type of geezer that will travel 6 miles on foot to get something from his nan from Tesco's Extra.
Yeah,
lovely guy. I can see why people would want him around.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
In recent years, he's not been that good on the football pitch, has he?
Nah, he's been struggling, mate. Like, do you know what I mean? And he's been a real good pro for Tottenham. What's he been? This is his 10th season, isn't it? And you're looking at it, and you Spurs fans are asking the question: Van der Ven out, which was a difficult one for the Man City game. He's gonna be out. Who have we got coming in? The cover there, Dragusin. A lot of people like him. You're a fan of him. Thought he's done well last couple of games. But on that left-hand side, Benny Davies, how's he going to shape up? It's very hard to replace Van der Ven, but I think he's done really, really well matching this
well,
week.
as you said, we've got to be completely honest on this show. We've asked for better than Ben Davies. We said
absolutely.
We need better.
And I still want better than Ben Davies.
I agree, and we've got it in Romero and Van der Ven and Dragusin.
Definitely. But what he is doing exactly what we need him to do, and that's when he's called upon, deliver. Make as least mistakes as you can.
This season, whether it be the Europa or, bringing French fancies to his nana, he ain't let us down.
Nah, he's done
and that
well,
needs to be talked about right here on the podcast.
Even when we were talking about the goal, I'm not too sure if you missed out on it that one, Madge. But like key for one of the goals, you know what I mean, with the interception. So yeah, well done, Ben Davies. Long may it continue, because one thing is for sure, you're going to be called upon this season a lot more, because you don't know, like Van der Ven, another bad injury. Romero gone off yesterday. Not too sure what that one's about so far at the minute. So yeah, really, really interesting.
Yeah, he's just, like you said, he's been the most professional player, and he's just there, does his job, never complains, clearly loves the club. I think we've got to not say sorry, because we criticise when people are poor, but we can
just
hold
give him the praise, Madge, when it's due, mate. You know what I mean? That's what's required in this situation, and I think, look, he's done that. Well done, Ben Davies. Long may it continue, because he'll be playing again on Thursday night, I think.
Yeah.
He will be, you know what I mean? He'll be called upon.
Galatasaray. You
know what I mean? The games come quick and fast, he'll be called upon. But yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Will be interesting, mate. Yeah, will be, because he's done really, really well.
But yeah, so the Carabao Cup situation with Manchester City.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that in a moment. Anything else left to say about Ben Davies? I want to see what the chat think of Benny Davies, and if they've ever been like one who wasn't the biggest fan of Ben Davies, because we weren't fans, were we?
Nah, look, mate, we spoke about it there, Ben Davies, and I think it's right that he gets his, like, we talk about him and we give him the praise, you know what I mean? But well done, Ben Davies. Long may it continue, because your time at Spurs is coming to an end. There's no doubt about that. It's coming to an end. However long he'll be there will be obviously open for debate. Do we want him there beyond the summer? Probably not. But at the moment, he's key and he's doing all right. So well done, Ben Davies.
Absolutely. He's someone, as we mentioned before, who's taken criticism. So today is the day that we've been bigging up to Benny Davies, indeed. Right, it's Gaz. Don't forget, we've got a Legends series on the Same Old Spurs podcast. I say series, we got one episode, didn't we, guys? But it's a very good episode.
Yeah. We've been threatening the next one to come for some time now.
No, but we will be doing it. We'll be doing that. Check it out. It's the SOS Legends podcast.
Green's hanging back, going to hit it. What a goal by Jimmy Green! And a beautiful goal by Hoddle. He caught that all right. Darren Anderton for Tottenham. And it's a magnificent piece of defending by Ledley King. He's looking for Gareth Bale. Oh, what a strike!
The Same Old Spurs Legend Series.
Hey, this is Darren Anderton. Check out my episode of Same Old Spurs Legends out now.
That's right, Mr. Darren Anderton. You can check out our conversation with him, his career at Tottenham Hotspur, what went on with him and Mr. Levy, the fact that he's been called sick note very unfairly over the years. Really good conversation. And his relationship with the late, great Terry Venables.
Yeah, brilliant. As we say, we've been threatening to do another Legends one. I'm sure it will be coming, but that one was a high-class one, and it was nice to be a part of.
Oh.
I mean, me being in a fortunate position, being able to speak to someone like Darren Anderton, representing not just Spurs, but for England at the highest level. Do you know what I mean? We grew up in that time, Euro 96, big tournament for me growing up. Big part of my youth, and he was influential. A game that stands out big for me is the Netherlands game. Holland.
Where?
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands. Where they from?
Big game from the Netherlands.
They're from the Netherlands. Can you name me some of those players?
What they played in that game?
Yeah.
For the Netherlands.
For the Netherlands.
Oh.
Let's go. Number one in goal.
Oh, I can't remember. What, that again in 1996?
Yeah.
I know Dennis Bergkamp played. Didn't Bergkamp play up?
I'm going to give you the players, yeah?
Go on then, mate.
Edwin van der Sar.
Yeah.
Then we had Ronald de Boer.
Ron de Boer.
Frank de Boer.
Hold of the boss.
De Boers. We had Clarence Seedorf.
Yeah, good player when he stayed off, mate.
Patrick Kluivert.
Yeah, Kluivert, yeah.
Who else was playing?
I don't know, mate. I was only...
Jordi Cruyff.
Jordi Cruyff. He nicked 11, didn't he, over there for the Dutch? He didn't live up to
He got to bring in for Man United, didn't he? On the back of the surname, I think.
But yeah, big key moment. Like Darren Anderton, top man, mate. I know he was your favourite player, wasn't he?
I love Darren Anderton, but yeah, you know, that podcast is really worth having a listen to if you haven't already. Right, it's time to turn our attention to that Manchester City victory in the week, the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, look, mate, again, like you're going into that game off the back of the Palace game. As we said, you don't know what's going to happen. What Spurs are you going to get, Madge? What Man City are you going to get? I thought he named a half-decent team, Man City. I really do. I thought Phil Foden up front. You had Gundogan in the midfield. They had an injury, a late pull-out in the warm-up, didn't they? That saw Diaz come into the back line. A strong back line. Kanji come out late. I thought it was a decent enough Man City team. But what a start to a football match, mate, and what a team goal after just 5 minutes.
Well,
and that is a prime example. You know, when we talk about playing out from the back, and what can come off playing out from the back. And that was it, mate. Well, really great goal.
Have you seen the clip that's going around of Joe Hart talking about his time at Celtic, and he said his previous managers in England were David Moyes and Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
But Ange Postecoglou, and what he learned from Ange, is why he can sit at Radio 5 Live and look at the game in a very different way now.
Yeah.
He was talking about that from playing from the back. He goes, when I was like, I've got to play from the back, I'm thinking, what have I got to do? Quick turns as a keeper?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, as long as my back two are there near me and I've got a view to my 6, when their players come, we know that there's a dink in behind.
Definitely.
And that's what you saw with that first goal. The press from City.
Yeah.
Allowing space in behind.
Yeah.
And the execution from the boys was just brilliant.
Great team goal, wasn't it, Madge? Starts out, plays out from the back, goes out to Gray. Lovely little flick round the corner from Brennan Johnson. Kulusevski influential in his driving run right up the field. Can he play it across to Dominic Solanke? No, he misses him out.
And then
plays it to the man, the back man.
Well, when we see it going to that man, what do we all think?
Well, look, you know what I mean?
Let's be honest, what did we all think?
I thought it was going in Rosehead, let's be honest.
I thought it was going at the stadium.
I thought it was a great finish from Timo Werner. Look, he could have scored a couple more that game, but that was a key moment. And, really, really good for everyone involved to see a goal like that.
Well, I looked at his goals at Leipzig. I was watching them because I'm like, there's no way Timo Werner is this bad. I'm not having it because he's the guy that scored against us in the Champions League for RB Leipzig, right? So I checked his goals at Leipzig. They were all instinctive. He's an instinctive striker.
Yeah.
Give him too much time to think, to worry, I'm going to miss it, I'm going to go the wrong way. He will miss. That ball came over to him so quickly, he just went, I'm going to shoot.
Yeah, great finish.
And it was a great finish.
Great finish, mate. And do you know what I mean? He's needed that.
Oh, he massively needed it.
He needs it. And I'll tell you, because the manager's thrown his arm around him a lot. A lot.
He has to. He's a senior pro.
You know what I mean? Yeah, but he's thrown his arm around him a lot. You know what I mean? Big investment from the club there, not in terms of a transfer fee, but
the wages,
but the package that they're having to pay him each week and month. So, yeah, look, it'll be crucial.
180k a week. Wow.
£180,000 a week there. Yeah.
£180,000 a week.
That's unbelievable.
That's a lot of dough for Timo Werner.
Yeah, and in that game, Madge, it's all about what's going to happen next. You go 1-0 up. Is that a good thing against Man City in a game? You know what
Sometimes
I mean?
not. And we learned the hard way.
Definitely.
Just before half time.
But what a strike on 25 minutes, Madge. You know what I mean? Pape Sarr, again, you're asking people, midfielders. I always ask for the central midfielders. You know what I mean? Because can you contribute? If it's not, I know it's not in your job description, but can you contribute, nick an assist, nick a goal here and there? And that was a fantastic strike, mate. Real, just took it fantastic. Then he opened up his body.
It was a sweet strike.
Around the goalkeeper and inside that near post and 2-0 up. It's a great day so far. Kulusevski, that brings him with 2 assists. You know what I mean? On the night, 5 in total for him so far this season. He went on to get the man of the match, but just ticks everywhere in that early stage. Yeah. But as you said, Madge, very, very disappointing, very, very Spursy to concede basically as a last touch in the first half.
Richard said, stop talking like we pay it, even if Madge partly is. Talking about the wages. Mate, trust me, from those executive seats, I feel like I'm paying Timo Werner personally.
Yeah, mate, yeah. But we conceded just before half-time, and that was a little bit disappointing. But you look at the second half, and it's for a team that, you know what I mean, it had lost Van der Ven after 15 minutes in that game, Madge. Another hamstring injury. Romero goes off just after half-time.
Big blows.
You're talking about a team, and we're using the sort of word soft, you know what I mean, soft underbelly used at Crystal Palace. They really had to rally together. They really did, as individually, collectively. And they really did that, and it was a real good team performance against Man City, mate.
And we need to dispel the myth that Man City had some young side out, and when in actual fact our side's the youngest.
Yeah, definitely. Imagine you think of it. Tottenham only had 30% possession on the night. You know what I mean? That's really, really rare, isn't it, for us, especially being at home. And I thought it could have been more, mate. I thought Ortega, the goalkeeper for Man City, really kept him in it, made some decent saves. Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski kept out. Richarlison should have scored, surely, when he went in. You know what I mean? But the key moment, as I touched on earlier, in the game is the one from Basuma, the one off the line, which is really, really key in the end, because it was vital that he did that, mate, because that could have been a different outcome in the game.
Yeah, and that it was. And I'm glad I didn't see the second half. Because it's like, you know, when you're holding on to a 2-1 against City, it's just heart and mouth.
I thought we did, and that's what I mean. And we really, really rallied together and showed what was required. that little bit of strength to get through the game, and we did that. I was really, really happy, man.
Johnny Anderson's bang on. He said our average age was 22 and Man City's was 26. That's what I mean by about dispelling the myth that they're this young side out. They had some quality players. It wasn't no second string Man City side, was it?
There's been many obstacles that this Spurs group have had to overcome in the last 2 games. One example of that is the injuries that have taken place during the games. You know what I mean? Romero we've lost, Van de Ven that we've lost, as we've touched on. And to overcome them obstacles against 2 top-tier oppositions, 2 top teams in Aston Villa and Manchester City, it's fantastic, mate. So, yeah, great. And Manchester United up next in the tournament.
Well, we looked at those fixtures and you're like, well, I was going to tell you something in it, Man City and Villa.
Yeah.
I was like, if you get through the cup one and you know, nick a draw against Villa would have been a good result, but wins.
Yeah. Look, mate, and as we said, like it's all about like cup football is all about getting through. You got a big game against Manchester United. Yeah, they have a new manager bounce going into it. It's a competition that even Ten Hag has won, and obviously we found out what's happened to him there. It'd be a competition that we've nearly won a couple of times over the years, just haven't really got over the line. We lost against Manchester United in one of them moments. Be interesting to see what happens in that quarter-final, mate. But I do back Spurs in front of a big crowd at Tottenham to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, you know, we've already beaten Man United this season. I know, obviously, they're going to have a new manager by the time we play them, but it will give us plenty of confidence to go into that game thinking, right, this is our cup. And if you beat City and Man United on the way to a Carabao Cup final, you're thinking, this is me.
Especially after the start we had against Coventry, because you never thought we was going through.
No
did
way.
You? Jed Spence, the man in the wilderness, as we've touched on, the man who's obviously got an attitude problem, surplus to requirement at Tottenham. He's gone a long way of keeping us in the tournament, so I thank him for that, Jed.
Yeah, no, it was a great victory. Just seeing us putting out Man United, though, it's just so us, isn't it? Just Man City, Man United. But you got to beat these teams to win a cup, Gaz.
It's all geared up for the Arsenal semi, isn't it?
You reckon?
Definitely. Over 2 legs. Do you remember the last one we had in the Carabao against that mob? Do you remember it?
Yeah, we lost on penalties. Right?
No, we won on the 2-legger, wasn't it?
Which one?
In the 2-leg in the Carling Cup, I think.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah. I was thinking of Chelsea.
Brilliant moments.
The Chelsea one we lost.
Yeah, brilliant moments.
We don't have a bad run against Arsenal in the Carabao.
Nah, they normally have felt it because back in the day they used to field the weakened side, didn't they? And they used to put the kids out.
Alex said Liverpool and Arsenal had to get the easiest draws though. Yeah, but hopefully they get through that and play each other, and one of them goes, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, it's opening up here, and that's what you needed to do, like to open up a little bit, have a little bit of luck as well as quality on the way to anything like that.
Yeah, look, you need it. But as I said, you're in the time now. 2-leggers, that semi-final, isn't it?
Are they still doing that?
Yeah, I'm sure that they do. So it'll be a 2-legged game. You know what I mean? Big one. But look, you got to beat Man United first, and that ain't going to be an easy task for sure.
What do you make of their new manager coming in and Mooring?
You know what I think?
Sporting Lisbon, 39 years of age.
Yeah, it's mad. It just shows how football. It just shows how football is. It just strikes similarities to me with AVB. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's an appointment when he come into the Premier League at Chelsea, bit of the unknown Portuguese lad, Portuguese man. No doubt got a bit of pedigree, plays a 3-4-3, doesn't he? You have to get people going at Manchester United, mate, because they've spent a hell of a lot of money. I don't know how much they can dip into the market again. Be interesting to see what happens there. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. But I watched them against Chelsea yesterday. I thought it was awful.
Yeah,
I think we've definitely got a better squad than Man United's.
Do you know what? You know what I saw yesterday? I thought it was compared to what sort of games I'd seen of yesteryear. Manchester United against Chelsea. I thought on the whole it was a poor game.
Yeah, very poor.
I really did. I think it was a poor game, mate.
Right, before we talk about next Sunday, we've got Ipswich at home, so another Sunday 2:00 kickoff.
Big game in the week though, mate. They come quick and fast. Galatasaray on Thursday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In the Europa League, look. You look at it, just touch on that if you don't mind, Madge. Spurs in 2nd place on 9 points so far in the group. Galatasaray in 5th place on 7 points. Interesting one here. The last game that Galatasaray played was on the 28th of last month, so they'll obviously be a lot more fresher than Spurs.
Yeah, but sometimes that's not a good thing.
Yeah, they've won 4 out of the last. They've won the last 4 games in all competitions. Beat rivals Besiktas. You know who scored on the day for them? Former Spurs man, Davies and Sanchez scoring for Galatasaray, so he'll be back against us, playing against us on Thursday. We, as we know, have won 3 out of our last 4, only 1 defeat coming against Crystal Palace. The man to watch for me for Crystal Palace, for Galatasaray, mate, is Victor Osimhen. Like someone.
The fact he went there is just mad.
Yeah, someone that could have definitely been playing in the Premier League if other things went. If they, like, you know what I mean, linked with Chelsea heavily. You're looking at other teams desperate for a centre forward. You mentioned Arsenal at the beginning of the show. You know what I mean, relying on Havertz. What would he be like in that thing? But definitely, man, to watch. 4 goals and 2 assists so far in the Turkish league in just 5 games. So an immediate impact he's made there, and he'll be one to watch. We'll have to watch on Thursday, Madge.
Yeah, you just can't let him slip away.
It's an interesting game, Madge, because I'm not saying you throw the game, far from it, but you've got 9 points already so far in the group. You know what I mean? We've had a lot of it. We've got picked up a few injuries. No guarantees that even if you went full strength, you'd get the job done on Thursday night. So wouldn't be surprised if you saw wholesale changes.
Yeah, no, I hear that.
And sort of with the view of a big game against Ipswich in the league coming up at the weekend, and just sort of trying to trying to get the most out of your bodies at the minute.
Yeah, massive game.
So yeah, big one.
Don't forget, subscribe, like, share this podcast far and wide. We'll be back on the other side of this to wrap up the SOS podcast. It's Majestic Gazza. It is the Same Old Spurs podcast. It's gone 5 to 8 on a Monday evening. We're here at the SOS HQ. Gaz, the international break is nigh, which is annoying, isn't it?
Yes.
Feels like there's one every month in this part of the season.
I don't mind it if you go into it in a good moment, in a good place. You know what I mean?
But that's it. You need to be in the good moment, in the good place.
You do need to be in a good moment, good place. Sometimes it's an opportunity if you have got a couple of niggles in the camp for them to, you know what I mean? Yeah, to have a little like rest and it does add to the detriment not being that Spurs are playing games in that time. So yeah, look, there might be a couple of them in key players that we need, like Romero, and Van der Ven, who won't go away on international duty. So we'll see, mate. But all depends. I don't mind a break if we're going into it in a decent place. But then the flip side of that is, if you're in a good bit of form and you're in a good run of games, you don't really want to, what I mean? You don't really want to stop playing.
Absolutely, and that's what it feels like at the moment with us. And hopefully the stop-start nature of the Premier League is removed a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think we got to look. You got the key is to keep this Premier League form going. Do you know what I mean? We're brilliant at home, match. You know what I mean? We've only picked up 3 away wins in the whole of 2024. It'd be interesting to see if we can start showing a bit of the character that we've shown this week on the road in the away games, because that's going to be crucial and vital to and where it leads us at the end of the season.
Yeah,
match.
100%.
You know what I mean? So
100%.
it'd be interesting to see if we can turn it around. But look, I think I said it at the top of the show, how the Spurs narrative can change so quickly, Madge, because as it sits today, as we've said, we'll echo it again, conceded the fourth least goals in the league, scored the most goals in the league, the second best goal difference in the league, third most wins, won 9 out of the last 11.
Let's ask.
Not bad.
Let's ask the chat now quickly. Chat on YouTube, welcome, hello. We've seen your comments coming up and down. Some great comments have been coming in during the show. But I just want to ask: are you Pardew? Sorry, I'm talking about my. I'm not talking about my co-host. I'm talking about Big Ange, because I'm thinking of the Spurs gaffer, not my gaffer. But Big Ange, are you convinced by him yet? Are you Big Ange in? Are you Big Ange out? Where do you stand right now, Gaz?
Well, for me, I think we've been quite consistent.
We haven't really said that.
I haven't gone in on the manager over the last few weeks. I've put a lot of burden on the players' backs. I've put a lot of responsibility on the players on the pitch. Do you know what I mean?
I compared bloody Pardew to Big Ange. No good for anyone, that.
Nah. But what I'm saying is
2 weeks' wages, me.
There's been a lot of. I just looked at the players' reaction that we've got this week from the Crystal Palace game, and that's been big for us, and it was required. But yeah, look, I've put a lot of the goals that we've shipped down to just individual errors this season, not necessarily because we've been getting cut open or the system's been letting us down and we've been in that way. And you're just asking for a bit more concentration from the players. You know what I mean? I think we have moments where we just lapse a bit of concentration. And look, that's been good for us. It's been a little turnaround, mate, but we need to keep going with that. I'm not. How can you be Ange Postecoglou out with them numbers I've just told you about?
But this is it.
Yeah, I mean,
isn't it strange that the stats of the numbers all suggest the real positives, yeah? But sometimes with the eye test, it's like those silly individual mistakes make them all feel so much worse, and it's like the system doesn't work.
Do you think there's been a naivety to his approach in football games of late? I don't think so.
Well, I think it's the opposite. I think he's learned a bit.
I really don't. I don't think. You look at it in the fine detail. I don't see a real naivety, mate. Like, and as I said, people were quick to throw the pelters at him in the Brighton game when we were winning 2-0 at half time. Could he have tweaked that and made adjustments there at half time? It's not realistic, mate. You're 2-0 up, you're dominating a football game. You know what I mean?
You're not likely to change.
But as I said, the individual errors and mistakes occurred so quickly in that second half. It was too late to change. It was done.
And as you say, how can you blame Ange for those?
No, just soft and soft goals that we've given away, mate. And we need to eradicate that. That needs to become a thing of the past. Whether it will do so is another question, but let's hope it does.
Yeah, well, looking at the comments that we got here, it's a lot Ange in. Pardew out.
Pardew in.
Now, keep Pards in. Ange in, I'm 70-30 in. The games we shouldn't lose.
The question I asked them, Madge, if you are Ange out, who comes in? How much money is it going to be? How much money is going to be required to go again with a different philosophy? Do you know what I mean? What players are going to be surplus? What players are you going to keep? Whole big project that you'd be asking for there, mate. I just think that we're in a decent little place at the moment. Whether that can be, it will be different in a couple of weeks potentially, because that's football. And as it can say, the direction of travel can change so quickly.
Well, Stuart's absolutely right, saying Ange won't admit it, but the City game showed we can play another way when we have to. That's always been a concern. Only playing one way, but improving since are all the signs. That's Ange in. Exactly that. I've always said, like, as long as he learns and realises he's going to be a top manager.
Yeah, look, we'll see. You know what I mean? He keeps saying to everyone that he wins in his second season. He's got a couple of opportunities at the minute because we're going wrong okay in the Europa League. We've got Man United in the next round in the Carabao Cup, we've already touched on. So, look, it's a good week for Spurs. And like what we keep saying is, like, when you win a football game as a supporter, you've got to enjoy it. You've got to dine out on it, like, you know what I mean, and for a long period, because especially with our group, you don't know what's round the corner, mate. That is for sure.
Absolutely, it is the roller coaster.
That's why we need to do that, mate.
The roller coaster ride that is Tottenham Hotspur. Mark can't stand him. There's some other people.
Football's subjective, and you're a fan. You're entitled to your opinions. That's what it's all about. It's a game of opinions. My opinion, your opinion, anyone else's opinion. No one's right. It's just an opinion. But I just think that at the minute, Ange Postecoglou, he's getting a little tune out of some of them boys at the minute, and that's for sure.
Alex is in writing saying, I don't think he does himself any favours in certain press conferences.
Yeah, look, mate, you can pick holes out of him. What as I touched on, what he needs to do is, and what we need to do is, you need to get winning away from home. You can't keep losing away from home. You can't keep shipping goals away from home. He needs to find a formula on the road. At home, we're all right at home. I back us to beat a lot of teams, but you need to find a formula on the road.
I like this. My little brother is Ange out, but then he sings his name on Wednesday night all night. Football fans are so fickle, but how can you not love this guy? Best era since Poch. Easily.
Look, football. I think football's probably the most fickle sport.
Nah, boxing.
Yeah, you can go that route, but I think, I'm not being funny, every football fan is fickle. There'll be a large majority of Spurs fans who were slaughtering Spurs last week and waxing lyrical about them today. It's just how the game is. It's not just at our club. It's up and down the country, mate, at various different other clubs.
Well, I work on a radio station that proves that, doesn't it?
Exactly, mate. So
the fans change every single week.
I'm not being funny. I was listening in last night, and we started off the show talking about Arsenal, didn't we? And last night they're ringing up. A few of them, the Arsenal boys, are getting in. They're out.
Yeah,
want him out. Is he good enough? Is he taking them as far as he comes? It doesn't take much for things to change and for a fan base to turn a little bit.
Absolutely. Guys, listen, you've been absolutely incredible. All I can ask is if you press subscribe and like and share the podcast. Share it far and wide, especially after a win, guys, isn't it?
Brilliant, mate. Yeah, get it going.
You want to just make sure that you're spreading that word of...
I appreciate all the engagement from all of our SOS listeners. Have done for a long, long time. Keep it up. Keep it coming. And as Madge says, yeah, if you could subscribe and share the podcast, we'd be forever grateful.
I think we might have time for just one more question. So the first person to get a question into me and Gaz in the chat right now, we will finish the podcast on that question. So quick fire, try and get your questions in as quick as you can. We're over on YouTube. Just search Same Old Spurs and you can get onto the chat now, just the way that like Emilio, John Doe, Richard, Alex, Page Dog, they're all in the house. Big fan of the show, and now even better being on YouTube. Thank you very much to anyone that's listened to us and now gets to see us in vision. Big up to Rocky.
Rocky Marciano, what a name that is, eh?
I know, I love that.
What a fantastic name.
Big up, boys. Always need the Monday therapy. No prawn sandwich this week, Richard.
How was it up there? You're on a diet, that's why, the 365.
The 365 means the prawn sandwich is a bit...
Don't worry, Richard, I'll get myself up there soon and I'll hopefully be able to deliver you some high-class prawn sandwich content.
You can do
for
too.
one.
Here we go. Would you ever do a fan watch-along down the Boozer?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, we should, shouldn't we?
Yeah. There'll be lots of things coming. Like I'll be doing some watch-alongs as well, game watch-alongs. You can join in and watch the games with me, see how I rate I get in football matches. So yeah, lots of different content on the way moving forward. We've only just got started our YouTube journey, and there's going to be a lot of fun on the road. What you do need is your team performing and winning for you, because if your team are winning and performing, it'll make everything just that little bit better.
Absolutely, and it's been a pleasure spending my Monday night evening with the Duck and the boys.
Yep.
And Gazza, don't forget.
Like the Spurs.
At Same Old Spurs Pod across all the socials. We're going to be back next Monday.
We are, yeah, next Monday.
Off the back of a Galatasaray away trip and Ipswich at home. Someone asked for 6 goals next week against Ipswich. Do you reckon we can do that?
You never know, mate. Shout out to John Doe. They done us. Big ups from New Zealand. They done us, didn't they, in the rugby at the weekend. So, yeah.
Richard said, get Will on the podcast when Majestic's off again. Richard, unfortunately, more likely, Will would be with me. So,
don't worry. I'll be riding solo.
All right. Thank you so much. Don't forget, follow us on the socials. Imagine, guys. Same old Spurs. Oh, the Spurs.
The Same Old Spurs podcast with Majestic and Gazza.